Hi, I'm Rick Conlow. Welcome. What do you notice about the screen here? Well, it's a slide, obviously, but it seems like it's moving, doesn't it? Even though we know it isn't. It's an illusion. And, companies today, CEOs today, executives today have an illusion that the employees are on their side, except that research shows that bad bosses and toxic workplaces are increasing. Unfortunately, that's happening. We have to do better than that as leaders. Today, we're going to talk about the 10 phrases servant leadership say regularly. And I'm a firm believer that leaders today at all levels have to commit to eliminating dinosaur thinking. There's too much of that. They're not changing their approach to be better. And I believe the approach that they need to focus on is servant leadership. Servant leadership is about people first. And they work with their employees differently and better than other leaders. Now, attitudes at work today. I was referring earlier to the discontentment that's in the workplace. Here are some statistics to back it up. Now, I'm not going to read all of them. You can see them there, but I'll touch on a few of them. 50% of employees feel that they're not important at work. And so, as a result, 50% of their time is idle. In other words, they aren't giving their best to the job every day. So there's a tremendous amount of reserved potential in performance that companies aren't tapping into because they're not treating the people correctly or positively. A couple others. 77% of employees are looking for another job. So if you're looking for another job, how good do you think you're doing the current job? And 75 to 80% of employees are disengaged. In other words, they're not really into it. They're not doing all they can. In fact, they tend to work only when the boss shows up. So, that can change. If you're a leader or manager or supervisor, a foreman, whatever your level of supervision is, you can do something different. It starts with how you communicate with people. Let's get into it. 10 phrases servant leaders say that make a difference with their team. I am glad you are on my team. In other words, they're positive. They're showing you, they're encouraging you that they're glad you are here. Our goals and vision are. In other words, they share that with you. A lot of times they don't. They just tell you, do your job. And behind that is they get you involved in, and I'll comment on that in a moment. My expectations for you are. So they have conversations with you about how they're going to measure your progress and how you're doing it, what you're doing well, what you can do even better, how they're going to support you, that kind of thing. Here's one, number 4, how is it going? So they have a small talk conversation. They'll check in with you. I knew a guy named Jim Lowe. He'd go around his company every morning and he'd walk around and talk to employees and say, how's it going? And he'd just check in with you. And they'd have a conversation about the family and softball and soccer and other things that were going on. Wow, when was the last time that happened to you? What it did was build a positive relationship with the employees. Next, what do you think? So they ask for your input and your ideas. They care about your intelligence and that what you can contribute, because they don't have all the answers. The team has the answers, and so they ask you about it. They listen then and pay attention. And then this one, get this one. You can do it. I believe in you. They say words like that for encouragement, for helpfulness, to help you realize that they're behind you. They're going to support you. They have your back. Here's one. Thank you. Thank you for what you did. And they describe it. And then next one, what can I do to improve or help you more? So they realize that they're not perfect. They make mistakes. So they're going to ask you, what can I do to support you, to help you accomplish your task? That could be maybe some training that you need, or that could be maybe an improvement in a procedure. But they ask. That's the important thing. And then the next one, how do you think we can improve as a team? So again, looking for input. They're asking you and others on the team, what can we do to make a better difference in this organization, in this department? And then they say this, my success comes from our team. Servant leaders know that their success is all about the team. When the team wins, they win. And so they'll comment on that. They'll say words of encouragement like this. Now, leaders don't always have to say these phrases exactly like this, and there are other phrases that can be said. But this is much better than an alternative way. Much better than saying, just get the job done. I don't care what you think. You know, you're screwing up again. Those kinds of things don't work, never have. Now look, Luke Aiken, skydiver. He jumped out of a plane 25,000 feet up in the air without a parachute. Would you do that? Well, he did it. Unbelievable. He landed in a net. Thankfully, he hit the net, you know, and he did it. Here's the thing. You don't have to jump out of a plane without a parachute. But the point of it is, people have incredible potential. And it's the leader's job to find out. And part of the way you find out is to say those kinds of phrases I just gone through. Now, there are other things you need to do, certainly. You got to provide training for people, elevate their skills and their knowledge. You need to do coaching and help them in a positive way. Have a dialogue, not a monologue. So it's a two-way process. But you do it, in other words. Again, setting clear expectations and goals, holding positive, constructive, engaging team meetings. Those kinds of things make a difference. What is it about? It's about how you treat people. You treat them with respect and care. And you're leading from a place of integrity, ethics, honor. Okay? So you have that kind of relationship, so you build mutual respect and trust with your team. And when you have trust in the team, they don't have 50% of their time idle. They're going above and beyond because they want to, because they like to come to work. They give their best to what they're doing. That's the difference these kinds of phrases and this kind of leadership, servant leadership, makes. Now there, you can learn more. Take a look at our book. If you like what we talked about today, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment, would appreciate it, and then check us out on our blog and website. Appreciate you coming today. Look for more to come. Thank you.